So really quick, pop, 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 done, right? Now all these cigarettes, good to go. Yo, welcome back to Urban Street 420. I'm your host, 40. Today we're going to review the Hermit Crab cigarette rolling machine. And I know a couple of you are thinking, wait a second, 40, I thought you didn't smoke cigarettes. I don't smoke cigarettes. However, I reviewed these papers on the channel a while back. These are made by Hermit Crab as well. Hermit Crab hit me up and said, hey, we really like the way you reviewed the papers. Can you review this machine? I said, I don't smoke cigarettes, huh? But the reality is you could fill this with any herb you want. In fact, you can mix and match. And that's kind of cool because I suppose if you're a regular cigarette smoker, you don't know all the additives that are being put in there by the different companies, the preservatives, this, that, whatever. If you're rolling them yourself, then you choose exactly what goes in them. I'm also going to show you how to roll this with some herb and be super incognito. In fact, let me open up this box right here, right? So they sent me empty cigarette tubes, right? Let's go to the other camera. And 8mm, for example, which is the size of this machine, if I move this out of the way, it's the size of this, right? This is 8mm. So this goes on the end like so, you fill it with herb, etc. Anyways, we're gonna get into that in a minute. I'm gonna put this off to the side and let's open up the box to show you what else this puppy comes with, right? So mind you, there's 3 options and there's 3 sizes. This is the 8mm version, which gives you the biggest cigarette, right? So there's a 6.5mm and there's a 5.5mm version as well, right? They also come in different colors, either in black or green. I believe they have a silver color as well. Let's open this up and let me dump everything out that's in here, right? Instead of dumping, I'll just grab it, right? So when this arrives, right, this thing is locked in place. There's a little piece right here. And this little lock makes it so that the handle stays in the box, no problem. And if you want to take it off, all you do is bring this a little bit, pull this little plastic piece off, and now this is able to go all the way up and then coming here all the way down, right? This comes with a little brush so you can move things around if you have to. Another wire brush to clean inside here if it gets dirty. You have a little scoop for right here. You have a little pin right here. All of these things are used to be able to move things around, clean things, etc. This right here is so, for example, when this is open, if you have a bunch of tobacco in here, you could press it down with this before you pull this to go ahead and fill it, right? It's gonna make a lot more sense when I go ahead and start using it. Let's put all the accessories back. We don't really need them except for the stuffer. And yeah. This also comes with a small bottle that I believe you can put some isopropyl in so you can spray to keep things clean, etc. Right? Let's start with tobacco. So like I said, I don't smoke tobacco and they sent me this so I could show you guys, but I don't smoke tobacco. So this is probably a good way to see how this product works because I'm not even somebody with experience in rolling regular cigarettes, right? So I believe what you need to do is take the tobacco, put it right here. I've done this, by the way, with herb. I haven't done this with tobacco. And then when you bring the lever all the way up, what you're doing is you're opening up the slot down here, right? In the bottom, there's an opening, right? If I move this back, right here is where we're stuffing all the tobacco into that opening. After we do that, right, one of the things that I noticed, by the way, is these cigarettes come in bulk. They come in that box. You might want to take the end of this to go ahead and make sure that the opening of this cigarette is nice and round because sometimes it will just have a little fold, which will sometimes make it difficult to put it onto the end right here. So all we have to do is slide this onto the end, and as we start to bring this lever down, you'll notice that the connection of this little piece touches here to make sure that the cigarette doesn't come off, right? Now as I go ahead, I pull this right here, boom, it's done. This is now filled, right? And maybe there's a little excess on the tip, but that's okay. And if you feel the cigarette, it feels uniformly perfect, right? And look how fast that was. Let's go ahead and grab a couple more. Let's fill a couple more, right? So again, all you have to do, pop, 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 make sure this is open, bring any of the tobacco down in here, go ahead and come back to the side. And if this doesn't go on easily, we could always use this to open it up, but it went on no problem. We'll put this right here, and here we go. Look how fast that was. We'll go ahead and bring another one. And one of the reasons I'm trying to do this fast right now is just to show you, like, if you're gonna roll a bunch of cigarettes, it's not gonna take you a lot of time. Now, mind you, if I wasn't talking, this would even go faster, right? Now, mind you, a little bit is coming out right here that because what I dropped it, the cigarette dropped, a little bit falls out. No big deal. Just grab it, put it back on top, or put it back in your bag, etc. Right? We'll fill one more, and then we'll go ahead and dump the tobacco out, and let's fill it with the good stuff, baby. So we're going to take this tool. We'll just pull some tobacco from the top. We'll bring it down here. We'll press it down in there. No problem. We'll bring this to the edge. Now notice, this is what I'm talking about. See, this might cause an issue to put it on the end right here. If it does, no problem. It went on, but no problem. Then take the edge of this, put it through, you're good, right? So really quick, pop, 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 done, right? Now all these cigarettes, good to go. We know there's no added extras. If we want, we could take off the excess off of the tips, no problem, or you could just pack it down, etc. I'm gonna give these cigarettes to a friend who smokes cigarettes, and yeah, I mean, super uniform, super perfect, and super fast. I mean, now here's the thing. I thought when I first got this, because obviously Hermit Crab watched my channel, and they know that my channel is about cannabis. And when I watched it, my first thought, as soon as I opened this up, was like, hey, let's go ahead and put cannabis in here. And at first I took a cone. There's a problem with doing that. I'll show you. So let me go ahead and put this tobacco away, and then we will move on to rolling with other herbs, right? All right, now that we've got that cleaned up, the first thing I did when I got this is I took a cone. And let me show you what happens when you do this. And I'm also going to show you a workaround. I don't know if you'd actually buy this machine to fill cones with, because that's not its intended purpose, right? But if you have the machine because you bought it to fill cigarettes, you're out of these cigarette tubes. I'm going to show you how you can make this work. But first, I'm going to show you why it doesn't work, right? And then I'll show you the hack, the workaround, right? So we're going to load some CBD in here, right? And we're just going to put enough to fill up one, no problem. You don't really have to use this thing to press down. I just use my fingers. Usually I just tap it down lightly. And the reason we're not pressing really hard is because we don't want it to be too packed inside, right? So if we take a cone, the cool thing is the cone fits on the end, no problem. And when we pull this, it holds the cone and it will fill the cone, right? And you say, oh, that's awesome. It worked. But it didn't. Let me go to the other camera. Notice down right here between where the end of the herb, and I don't know how well you could see, right? But the herb ends, then there's a space, and then there's the filter. So I could show you easily by bending it, you see, right? So obviously, that's not gonna work. Let's go ahead and take out the herb that I just filled in here. All right, so now that we cleaned that up, let me show you what the hack is to get this to work. Again, this is not necessarily its intended purpose, but I thought, why not show it? Because then this gives you more uses, right? Because obviously, if you buy this and you run out of empty cigarettes and you still want to use it, you could technically fill a cone. So I did the same thing. I put herb in here just as I did before. I'm gonna go ahead and grab another cone. Now, this slows everything down. All you have to do is put a little herb in the cone before you do this, and then there will be herb on the bottom. It will fill this with herb, and there won't be a space. So I'm just gonna go ahead and put a little bit of herb in here, make sure it goes all the way to the bottom. I will use this little pick right here, and now I see that the herb is almost, well, let's put just a little bit more. The herb is basically where the space was, right? So now it will fill it with herb, and the space won't be a space because there's herb. Look right here, right? The herbs, this filter ends here, the herb is going to up right to there, right? I'll put this on the edge right here. I'll go ahead and close this. We'll bring this here. And now, when we look at this joint and we feel it, uniform from the bottom to the top, right? We might tap it down right here just so we could twist off the top, and then look at this, right? So we will light this in a second to go ahead and give it a try, but first, let's do one more thing. Let's use it for its intended purpose with these empty cigarette holders, right? Or empty cigarette tubes, right? So we're gonna go ahead and put a little bit more cannabis in here. We're gonna put this on the end of this empty cigarette right here, and now, same as before, we're turn this right here, and here we go. Now look at this. How incognito is this, right? Now you can smoke this while you're out. I have tried this already, and I can tell you this. I'm not that big of a fan of the cigarette filters, right? I prefer the filters that are on the end of joints, but this is super incognito. Let's go ahead and light it up, and then let me finish talking about the product, and I'll show you the other version as well, or the smaller tube size. I mean, imagine if you're at a place where it's like you can smoke cigarettes, no problem, but you cannot smoke other things, then look at this. you wouldn't know, right? I mean, maybe you can smell it, but let's go ahead and put this off to the side. I'm going to put it out because you guys don't need to watch me keep smoking it. I'm going to show you that the cone works no problem as well. It's perfect. Airflow is perfect. It's exactly the kind of pack that you're looking for, right? I suppose my one gripe about the machine is this, is that it's too bad this isn't filling cones the same way it's filling these cigarette tubes, right? Because then that's it. I think everybody should own this. But okay, this definitely is more geared to cigarette smokers because the reality is it's to fill these empty cigarette tubes. And personally, I prefer cones over these, so there's that. But this is super incognito, so filling them with herb and then taking this out when you're out and about, nobody's gonna second guess you. You know what I mean? Let's go ahead and clean this out just by turning it upside down to dump any remaining herb in there, and then let me show you what the back of this looks like, right? This is all high quality. This is all metal. It's nice. There's some rubber anti-skip pads here, so when you put it down, it stays sturdy on the table. Everything is high quality, and I have to say the build quality is impressive. These guide rails right here are used so that when you bring herb or tobacco or whatever you're putting inside the tubes, it's easy. It comes down no problem. There is also adjustable. It's not a lever, but a slide right here. And this adjustable slide, what that's going to do is change the amount of filler that's going to go into the tube. So if you want to fill it a little bit less or a little bit less packed, then you move this to the side, right? Let's go ahead and move this out of the way. I'll go ahead and grab the other machine and let's open it up, right? So this one is green. You can see the other color, and yeah. So it has the same other accessories, so I'm not going to show you the accessories, just like this packer, the little empty bottle, etc. I'm going to move this off to the side and then show you that the machine basically looks almost the same, right? And I'm showing you on this camera. Probably it would be better suited on this camera because this is quite large, right? So they look almost the same. The big difference is, again, this tip that comes out on the end. When we go like this thing is for an 8mm opening for one, and the other one is 6.5. Let me go ahead and show you what the different tubes look like, right? Because this is the 6.5 tubes, and then you could compare the sizes, you know what I mean? So let's go to this camera right here, and you can see this is the smaller tube, this is the 6.5mm tube, and this is the 8mm tube, right? These are the same length, right? Just different diameters of fill, right? They both have filters down here. Now, mind you, the filter on this one seems to go, it looks like it goes taller, but the filter is not all the way up to here. It stops right here at that red line, it seems. Anyways, so if you want a smaller cigarette or you like a slimmer cigarette, maybe you'd go with the smaller model. But if you want more bang for your buck, go with the 8mm. That'd personally be my call. If I was going to pick one of these, I would get the bigger one because I like to put as much herb as I can, right? So, all in all, these machines are pretty fantastic. The only thing that I would request is that they do something that they're not supposed to, that they weren't made to do. It's, again, if they could fill these joints without that extra step, that would be amazing. But when you look at this, I mean, look how perfect, right? Burns perfectly. Let's light it again. You can fill it with whatever you want. You can mix and match. Again, if you crumble up little pieces of hashish, mix with herb or tobacco, you could put it in here, stuff it, bada bang, bada boom. Anyway. I have the fan on the lowest speed because it's very hot. Huh? Piece of water. I brought this to a friend of mine who works at a restaurant near me, and I pulled it out, and he smokes cigarettes. He's like, oh, I want a cigarette. And I gave it to him. I also know he smokes, right? Herb. So I gave it to him. He lights it up. He's like, what? How did you do that? He's like, I could smoke this in front of my coworkers, no problem. Anyways, guys, gals, everybody, I'll leave a link where you can pick these up on Amazon. They're a fantastic deal. The build quality is amazing. And if you're trying to fill these cigarette tubes, it's fantastic. You wouldn't buy this to fill cones because that's not its intended purpose, but if you want to fill cones, I showed you the hack in where you'll be able to do so. Now, you could also buy these empty cigarette tubes as well. I'll leave a link for that. I hope you liked this video. If you did, please like, share, subscribe. You know the deal, baby. Till next time, I'm out.